everyone. Today is Thursday, March 10th, okay, 2022. This is our bi-weekly, I guess it is, HR meeting to discuss personnel changes. Attending are Commissioners Duncan, Brooks, and Filios. Do we have any changes to the agenda?
I think just noting that our four main items are going to be handled under business and not under call to order.
Right, yeah, so there was an accident, so we're just moving the several items under business where they rightfully belong. Okay, so moving on then, our first agenda item is pay increase for election office temps.
The current situation, thank you,
Jim, you need a microphone.
Is your mic
Yeah,
on?
there you go.
I don't. We'll try this. Thank you. Is that better for
Yes,
everyone?
thank you.
Okay. We have got our election officer, our office is asking for an increase for our temps in our office. As the pay increases for the county, we would like to increase our election temps from their current $10 or $10.20 to $12 an hour. And of course, as we know, elections doesn't get any scrutiny, so I think it's worth it for them to get the extra couple dollars an hour. This will not affect our budget for the remaining fiscal year because you'd like to add?
Yes, there are. Thank you, Clerk
Thank
Brandon. Commissioners, also, you'll notice in there that we do also have three temps that have been with us for quite some time that we would like to have be at the 1250 mark, and then any of our more recent hires or new hires that we bring in would be at the $12 mark. We have current year temp budget of $39,000 for the current fiscal year. I don't have the exact figure of what we've currently used in front of me, but I believe it's only $4,000 or $5,000 of that amount. And the May election is what is pretty much the only election we have this year remaining in this fiscal year that temp pay would go towards. There'd be a short period in September that we'd be paying temps in advance of the November election as well. And pretty much that is all I have. If you have any questions.
Okay. And then for FY23, you'll put this in your budget?
Correct.
Okay, fair enough. Bill, any questions?
No questions.
Motion.
I move that we approve the pay increase for the election office temporary positions.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan.
Aye.
Chairman Filios.
Aye, and the motion is carried. Item number 2, ARPA positions, org set revision, resource management office. Jody?
Oh, you need your microphone back.
There you go.
Yes, we are seeking approval to amend the funding source of the 2 ARPA positions such that each position is 75% funded through ARPA and 25% funded through the RMO budget. We believe this will be a net neutral due to the indirect cost revenue that is anticipated to come in to cover that increased cost.
And how are you sitting so far in this fiscal year? We're almost halfway through. So do you have that indirect cost already captured for this 25%?
I have to say that I forgot to bring that number,
Oh, okay.
Leslie, but I do know that we anticipate $115,640 on several grants if they come through.
Okay, that more than covers it. Sure.
Bill, any questions?
None.
Seems logical. Okay. Motion.
I move that we approve the ARPA positions organizational set revision for the 75 ARPA 25 general fund RMO budget number.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan.
Aye.
Chairman Filios.
Aye, motion's carried. Why don't reverse the items 3 and 4, because I think
Yeah.
4 is going to be a lot faster.
Yes.
So item number 4 is exception to policy 120, prosecuting attorney's office. Barry.
Morning, Commissioner. Very good for the record.
Push your button.
Yeah, get.
There you go.
Thank you. Again, Barry McHugh for the record. Commissioners, I am here asking for an exception to policy 120. I have an AT3 position that is open, and I have an applicant whose experience would qualify her for 12 years of applicable experience. I ran that through Kim Van Slate just to make sure that that was accurate. And I'm asking for an exception to hire that applicant at step 10, which I know is well above market, based on that experience. And part of it is, the commissioners approved an AT3. It's been a little while ago, though, to specifically assist us in working on the Renfro post-conviction relief case. And this applicant has that kind of experience, including 3 or 4 years of civil litigation experience, and then some years of experience working on a complex litigation involving the kinds of things, sort of the discovery issues that we have and will continue to have in that case. So it's an unusual circumstance where this person was here and then overseas for 10 years working for Credit Suisse, and so she's got a variety of experience, and we believe the ability to come in, get to know that case, and take a significant role on it. And it's a complex case, and so it's unusual, frankly, to have somebody with this kind of experience come to the county and say, I'd like to come to work, with you, especially. And, we had to ask that question, why would you want to come to work for, a county prosecutor with this kind of experience? And she's just really interested in what we do and is interested in this case and has some background that would make her, I think, uniquely qualified for it. So I think it's a good hire. I think it's an appropriate circumstance in terms of the complexity of the work and the experience of the applicant. I can't remember a time, much less the last time, that I asked for something over market. So I try not to make this a habit for sure, but that's what I'm asking for.
And then going forward, in next year's budget, is this going to cause an increase?
Well, I know that the information provided, how I would try to work this into the budget, because I did have 3 positions I hired that were new in this budget year, and so I presume, as I understand it, they're budgeted at market, and they were hired at a collective rate of $18,517 salary alone underneath market for those 3. And so if you look at an annual increase of $19,103, I think if you consider benefits, would be well over that figure and would not cause for an increase from this year to next year.
And you currently have other open positions, don't you?
One.
Okay. All right. Bill, any questions?
None.
Excuse me. Leslie?
Nope.
Okay then. Motion?
I move that we approve the exception to policy 120 for the prosecuting attorney's office for the AT3 as outlined.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan.
Aye.
Chairman Philios.
Aye, and the motion is carried.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you. Okay, back up to, excuse me, item 3, which is overtime proposal continued, excuse me, from a couple of weeks ago for the Sheriff's Office potential action item. Sylvia, please.
Yes, at the last HR meeting, the board directed HR and legal to review other policies of our surrounding area in terms of the comp overtime policy. And so we looked at it not only from a sworn officer perspective, but also our civilian staff as well. And so we were able to obtain policies from Post Falls, Bonners, Coeur d'Alene, Ada County, and Canyon County. It was a quick turnaround time, so that's the policies we were able to look at and just review and do a comparison of how we look compared to them. So just kind of to summarize our findings, with all civilians, of course, they earn overtime anything over 40 hours according to the labor laws. And our sworn officers, we found policies that are similar to ours where they receive overtime after working 80 hours in a pay period, or 171 hours in a 28-day pay cycle, and that's the 207K regulation. And we also find, so when we looked at how do they calculate their overtime projections, of course, you know, it varies by agency. And so we found that some allow holiday, sick leave, vacation leave to be included in that calculation or not. So some excluded it, some included it. So it really varied on, like with the city of Coeur d'Alene, they're sworn fall under a collective bargaining agreement, so whatever they negotiate. But overall, holidays were, it seemed typical to have holidays included in that overtime calculation. Seems reasonable. We also, you know, do you calculate vacation in there with, or if it's pre-planned, scheduled? Found a little bit of difference there. But overall, it really depends on where we want to go philosophically and how we want to provide those benefits in terms of the overtime calculation. So as long as we're meeting the letter of the law, then the county can supplement that or give additional benefit or not.
Okay.
Okay.
Darren, anything?
Darren, did you want to add anything? Okay.
You can go back to-
Yeah, go right ahead.
But we can't hear
Go,
you.
Mike, please.
Oh, he was just asking if you had anything to add to what Sylvia had said.
I heard Darren agreed to everything. That's what I heard. Didn't you say that, Darren?
Yeah, of course.
Tacit approval.
Yeah.
Of course. I'm sorry, I was in the back of the room having a conversation, so I didn't hear. Was there a question, like a direct question?
No, basically,
You
we were
want-
just looking to see if you had any comment to Sylvia's presentation.
Go over here. One thing I did want to add, Ada County allows for a premium code like a pay. So basically, it serves as an overtime code. And if you are called out for subpoenaed to appear in court because of a work obligation, responsibility, they allow overtime for those hours at court if they were on scheduled leave or regular days off. And that did not factor into the overtime. You didn't have to meet your 80-hour threshold or 171 hours to get that time at that premium pay code. Again, we looked at it from a county-wide perspective in terms of the review of the policy that we did.
One other question. Can you share with us the reaction or the input from the other elected officials?
Yes, thank you. I sent out an email and asked for elected officials and department heads to give us feedback. And we received information from the clerk's office in support of the concept of an ordered mandatory overtime as a temp policy for the remainder of this fiscal year. Treasurer's office supports the suspension of how we currently do overtime calculation for all departments within the county, but to reinstate the policy no later than the end of fiscal year 22 or when the aggregate cost exceeds $200,000. And the treasurer did not anticipate any impact to his staffing levels with an overtime policy change. We got information from juvenile detention, who also has a 24/7, 365 operation and has staffing ratio mandates as well. And they're in a critical staffing situation, having a hard time finding staff, filling positions, and an adjustment to the schedule with how it's calculated would help them in order to man their positions. Adult misdemeanor probation does 24-hour call out. A lot of times they have to go out on a holiday, and then when they work those hours, currently it's at straight time versus time and a half. And they have over 1,000 probationers that they're dealing with, and they deal with numerous subpoenas on days off as well. Airport has mandatory overtime for snow projects and other operational requirements. Suggested we modify the overtime policy Stephen indicated his experience in some agencies was to calculate overtime on a daily basis. But the research that, with the agencies that I looked at, none of them were calculating overtime on a daily basis, but great feedback. And then Buildings and Grounds also has overtime and comes in on holidays and so forth. The information I got is to at least include holidays as actual hours worked, and that was the feedback I received.
Okay. Thank you for that. Any questions for Sylvia? Sheriff, would you like to opine?
Have some significant issues with our fringe benefit time. We're being told we need to lower that liability, but when we try to do that, then it creates more vacancy, a day off to take their child to the doctor, and it's just a kind of a catch-22 all around. So I appreciate your consideration on this. Just one clarification, Sylvia. So is the proposal that any fringe benefit time other than sick time, the employee would receive time and a half?
That could be a consideration.
Okay, gotcha.
Yes.
In your proposal here, is that?
Yeah, we did a couple scenarios with Dina and the sheriff's office and just some feedback from the
Okay,
commissioners.
thank you.
Under Sheriff? Dan, anything?
No, I think we got pointed in the right direction.
Okay. So I guess what I'm thinking about this is court on days off just should be time and a half. Doesn't matter what's happened the rest of the week or anything like that. I think that Ada does that, premium pay thing, and I think that would be important because we're going to be ramping up here soon with all our jury trials, and I think it's important that we're covering our people there when they get these days off that, now they got to go into court for a couple hours. So I would be in favor of paying court at 1.5 from days off. Also, holiday time, if there's a holiday in that week, then that should be counted as a regular day's work. And then overtime after that, with that calculation. Pre-approved vacation as well, because you guys have to schedule vacation way in advance. So if they've got to come in, then that should be counted in there. I would be in favor of making a countywide change for fiscal year 22. We're right in budget season. We can talk about different scenarios for 23. But right now, today, I would be willing to go forward with a policy through 22. I would also ask that we change our policy. Our policy says that sheriff's office is paid after 86 hours. I would knock that down to 80 hours. So I would suggest that be changed in the policy going forward, whether or not we implement a new policy in 23 or not. So I think it's been our practice, and I prefer our policy to reflect that. I guess those are the main things
Sick
that
time.
I came away. Sick time, it's just one of those things that I don't see a lot of other agencies that are doing that. And I know the sheriff's department in the past has been very, very particular in making sure that if the person calls in sick, they are truly sick. And, that's appreciated. So at this point, I can't include the sick time for the overtime, but I definitely want to go forward with that holiday included and the any time that they had scheduled time off.
For vacation.
Yeah. For
Okay.
calling for court. Yeah.
Okay. Bill, thoughts?
I think we're in good shape. We're making progress.
Yes.
Okay. So basically, we covered 2 items in the request: holiday time and scheduled vacation time or scheduled time off to be included in the calculation. And that calculation is, as opposed to the prior 87 hours, we're dropping down
86.
6 hours.
Yeah,
excuse me,
drop it down to
dropping
80.
hours
Yeah.
And the court time.
Yes. And
Yes,
then
the court time.
court
Thank
time
you for
on
that.
days
On
off.
days off, yes.
Yeah, whether it's a holiday, a planned day off, or just a regular day off, getting that at premium pay for time and a half.
So, and they have a court appearance at 9 a.m.
In my mind, that's their time off, so
Okay.
they should be
So that
time
would
and a
be
half.
Half on the.
So I don't know, Darren, is that,
For discretion, yeah.
Okay,
That
so
doesn't interfere with other policies.
so that's just board discretion. Historically, yeah, I mean, that's how we've looked at that. I mean, it's not part of their regular shift. They would have been going home. They're at work,
Correct.
so. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's going to factor into the rest of the week.
calculation.
So, yeah.
Anything else?
We just need to talk about if the board is gonna vote for this, an implementation date, I think, and maybe Dina or someone
Dina
from
here?
auditor's office wants to
Yeah.
come up on how we get that logistics all worked out in reference to this change in the coding and stuff.
So for everybody's benefit, this is affecting this fiscal year 22.
Yes.
Go right ahead, Dina.
I would just ask to talk to payroll and find out when the best implementation is, how much time they need to prepare.
Okay.
Maybe not this upcoming
Pay,
pay period.
next pay period.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough.
And just to understand that this would be through the end of this fiscal year for now.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. And so that's what I would ask too then is that it be implemented at the nearest pay period possible that payroll can change their calculations.
There you go. Dan, question?
We have members of our association here. I wonder if it would be proper to just, if they have any questions.
Yeah, by all means.
About what was just talked about, I'd like them to have that opportunity to answer.
Ladies, gentlemen,
Well,
anything?
hang on one second. I want to ask Darren, you want us to take an official vote right now and then we can handle the association under public
We can
comment?
handle it under public comment, or we can just take the comments beforehand.
Either one works.
Okay. So
wanna
whatever
just
you
take
want
the
to do. Yeah.
I like having it now and then.
You wanna do it now?
Sure, I want to hear what they have to say.
Okay. Anybody in the Deputies Association? Zach, come forward.
Yeah, you got to get to a microphone.
Okay. I would prefer you voted first because I'm about to tell you thank you, and hopefully I'm not too early. This is something that we brought to the administration. For the record, I'm Zach Sifford and the president of the Employees Association, and this is near and dear to the hearts. They're putting in a lot of hours, as you all know. So thank you very much for the consideration. Thank you for the discussion today, and hopefully in a few minutes you're going to approve this. So we're paying attention. Our board is here. Our members are watching, and this is a great step in the right direction. Thank you.
So you might talk in public comment period also, is that what you're saying?
Yeah. We'll be back. We'll be back.
Anyone else in KCSO wishes to speak? Good job, Zach. You spoke for the crowd. Okay. All right then. Shall we proceed with the motion?
I move that we proceed with an overtime proposal as outlined for court on days off, paid at time and a half, holiday be included in the overtime calculation, pre-approved vacation be, which is current. Once again, this is a temporary policy to end on September 30th with consideration going into the budget season. Yeah.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan.
Aye.
Chairman Philios.
Aye. Motion is carried. Thank you, everyone. Public comment?
Anything else, Zach?
Okay, 11:27.
Oh, no, he meant it.
This should only take about a half hour, so.
Okay, you've got 33 minutes.
Okay. Again, thank you very much for that. And we're just looking forward to discussing the pay study with you and reviewing that with you when you guys are prepared to release that to us and work with you. So,
I'm glad you brought that. Keep going. I don't
okay, no, that's basically it. Our members are anxious. We already know the study. We have folks that work, friends and relationships that work in all of these agencies that the state includes. So we're aware of some of the numbers, but to sit down with you guys and strategize how to move forward with it, we're ready to go.
Super. Sylvia, did you want to make a comment regarding the wage study? That is to say, to whom is it available?
Well, yeah, we can't do that.
Wage study's not on the agenda for today.
Yep.
So if you want to just continue to take public comment, then I guess that's appropriate.
Okay, fine then.
I don't want to engage in too much discussion
Fair
about
enough.
it.
Okay. Any more public comment? Hearing none? 11:28, meeting adjourned. Thank you. Yeah, you bet.
Yeah.